Yo guys, what's going on? We're back out here with another video. We got 3 false prophets behind the camera. We're here at the Keystone stage to interview our special guest, Methadonix.
Shorty told me I should slide to Atlanta. I didn't out here, now she called me Bruce Banner. I took her over to the Copacabana. We found it.
Yo, bro, where'd you get your name from?
Alright, so this is a funny story. So a couple years ago, I used to go by the name KB3. It was something that I picked up in school. You know, teachers used to call me yada yada. That's before I actually started making music or whatever.
Right.
So one of my friends, his name's Justin Speaks. So we went out to eat the one day, and we had a notebook. We're sitting there and we're writing down. I was like, I'll write down 5 names. You write down 5 names. So what ended up happening was none of the names on the list made it. So I get up to order food, right? I'm looking at a chicken sandwich. Some crazy shit, I swear to God. All of a sudden, in my head, I go, Methadonix. Didn't know what the fuck it meant. Nothing like that, right? So I run back to the table and I'm like, what do you think about this? He was like, Methadonix. I'm like, yeah. That's how that happened. Ever since then, that's probably November 2018 that we came up with that name.
So what was the chicken sandwich? Did the chicken sandwich give you inspiration? Like,
no, bro. Like, I was just hungry, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking of all the names. Now, there was some crazy names on there. Like, one of them was like Kid Cash, like just like corny shit. You know what I mean? I wasn't really, we couldn't think of anything, but I knew it was going to hit me at a point. So I'm just up there, and I guess that's when it decided to hit me.
Did the sandwich at least like slap?
Did you even get the sandwich?
I didn't get the sandwich.
You didn't even get the sandwich.
I was too hyped up about the day.
That's good.
You feel me? So, yeah, that's where that came from. That's where that came from.
So when did you start making music, bro?
Alright, so ever since I was little, music has been a passion to me. You know what I mean? Like, there's a picture of me when I was about 4 years old with a microphone in my hand.
So it's like singing, like making music, or like instruments too?
I'd say so.
Okay.
I'd say so. So I guess we could say maybe 2016, I started, what I would do is I would copy lyrics from songs and just write them in notebooks, go over them, study them like that, you know what I mean? So 2017 comes around, and at school we used to have these dances, right? So there was this one kid who was the DJ for the dances. He was older than me. His name's Christian. So we're at the dance, and he's like, what if you freestyle in front of everybody?
Oh.
Yeah. So now, in the moment, I'm like, fuck no. I'm like, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? There's mad people here. And he's like, watch this then. Gets the microphone. He's like, all right, Kelly's going to freestyle. And I'm like, oh, puts me on spot, so now I'm tripping.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, on the count of 3, everybody start cheering Kelly. So obviously, if I don't do this, I'm a bitch in front of my entire school. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, fuck it, we're going to do it, right? So I pick up the microphone, and boom, it just comes out. It was like so easy to do, you know what I mean? And I was like, in that feeling of being above while everybody else is just kind of like, you know, like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it was something so nice. So I started writing. So 2019, there's a big pause in between 2017 and 19, obviously. But I start going to my friend's house, and he has this little studio set up. I'm just fucking around with it, you know what I mean? So we're downstairs making a couple songs, and I end up making a Dead Presidents remix. It's a Jay-Z and Nas both use the beat. So I use that beat, I record over it, and I show somebody. And she tells me, she's like, you have something here. Yeah. And in my head, I'm like, no, I don't really think I do, right? Because I'm hearing it, and I'm like, I don't know if it was me being anxious, scared, whatever it was. But she convinced me to do it. So 2 months later, I started working with Steve. You know Steve.
Yeah, Steve, yeah.
So I go there, do my first song. Does significant numbers overnight. So I'm like, okay, let's try another one.
Feeling, yeah.
Exactly, right? So I'm like, people are into this, you know what I mean? Let's keep it going. So then next single comes out, boom. Third single comes out, boom. So I'm like, now it's a trend, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going back to back. I might as well just keep doing it. And here we are 3 years later, you know what I mean?
That's gas, bro.
Yeah.
So long, 30 years, I'm not gonna lie.
So was it like, when you first went to see studio, was it like a big difference from what you was working with before?
Definitely. You know, he helped me out a lot. As soon as I got in there, he made me feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Because I was really nervous about it, you know, because at first we just jumped from not making music to now we're in the studio. You know what I mean? So I'm there, and he's giving me tips and advice and everything, and I had some good people surrounding me at the time. So they really helped me do that. And after that first session, it was just smooth sailing from there. You know what I mean? With progress. You know, progress is key to everything. So I'm just happy to work with him, and you know, we don't work with each other currently, but I'd be more than happy to work with him again.
I recently just interviewed Azam Khan. He says he's back in the studio.
Yeah, definitely.
He's trying to move it to a new studio, but he's still doing studio.
No doubt. He's a really good producer, so shout out.
That's a fact. So you dropped a music video about a month ago, Bruce Banner. How was it?
So the story about Bruce Banner. Originally, I hated the track. So this is actually still when I was working with Steve's. And I went there, and I had about 7 minutes, I'd say, of the recording session left. So he's like, all right, what else you got? So I'm like, all right, let's do this. You know what I mean? End up making it. I held on to the song for like 3 months, right? Because I wasn't feeling it. So eventually I decided, let's just drop it and see how it goes, you know? Because what could go wrong? You know, you really have nothing to lose. Let's just see. So ends up picking up a lot of attention. And I'm like, okay. All right, so it's going good. Maybe I personally don't like it, but other people do, right? So I grew to like it. So fast forward, the plan for this year was to make at least 6 to 7 music videos, right? This one being the first. Okay. So it was kind of, I didn't think I was going to do Bruce Banner, but it was requested by a lot of people. So, you know, I'm going to give them what they want. So we do that, and actually it was planned the day before. So barely any planning. We're like, you know, let's do a hometown feel for it. You know what I mean? So we did it. There's this spot in Doma where we all hang out. I'm like, let's go there. You know what I mean? Let's just have fun with it. Might as well. Let's get people involved that normally wouldn't be involved. You know, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to do. I mean, granted, it was like fucking 10 degrees out, but we made it work and we had fun with it. You know what I mean?
I noticed that with the other music video you have with the other artist. I can't think of his name, but like, there's always people in it that you don't see in other music videos. Like with you, but I don't see none of those kids in other videos.
That's what I mean. Like, you know, I like to with my music videos, I like to give people an opportunity to kind of get involved with it. You know, because they'll talk to me about it and they'll be like, you know, either I want to do this or maybe put me in this. And, you know, I like to give opportunity. So I just try to involve as many as my people as I can, you know, because it's cool. It's cool when you have people you're comfortable around with you, you know what I mean? And that music video actually took like 13 hours to shoot. Oh. That was bad. Yeah, we were in an office building. And, bro, 2 in the morning rolled around. I was tapped out. But it came out good, you know, so we're kind of doing good with the music videos. And I think the next music video is going to be for my song, Would You, which is my highest grossing song right now.
Let me ask the question, bro. You have 2, so you got that one coming out next. How many, like, what's the next one after that? Even maybe?
The next one after Would You? There's a couple new singles that I'm about to release. So I think I'm going to pick a couple out of there. But if I had to choose one right now, I probably want to do Against All Odds.
I've listened to it. You gotta make sure you work with 3 False Prophets, bro. He's a genius.
Oh, 100%. Great. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
100%. So I'll definitely be doing that.
So your most popular song on SoundCloud is Against All Odds. Can you tell me the meaning behind it?
Okay, so there was a situation that happened back in 2019, and not gonna get too far into that, you know, just because it's an uncomfortable situation.
Still need positive vibes.
Positive vibes, of course. But so that happened, and then it followed up with a bunch of other things that happened. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, how do I go about this, right? So I'm like, all right, we're gonna make a song about it. So I stayed up for a couple hours, and I just put my feelings into a song, and then I structured it. So I go to the studio like 2 days after that, and I just record it, right? And basically that song's basis is storytelling. You know, it's putting what's inside into the song, you know, and that was my second single. So I think it did around 5,000 plays in the first couple weeks, and then it died down for a while. So after I went, because I kind of strayed away from the SoundCloud now. Now it's kind of just more like, you know, your main platforms, but there are going to be SoundCloud exclusives in the future. We'll touch on that later. But I stopped doing that, put it on main platforms, and then it pulled more attention to SoundCloud for the song, which was weird. So I'd say end of 2020, I think, all of a sudden, like, I wake up one day and it has 25,000 plays. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what? Like, I dropped this song so long ago, you know what I mean? Like, this one of all of them, right? Yeah. But, like, of course, like, you love to see that. You love to see the growth. So now collectively, if you go across like all platforms, it probably has close to 50,000 in total, which is amazing. You know, for my second single to get attention almost 3 years after I
Even for
released it.
the emotion of that song,
Exactly.
that many views, that's very like that would mean something.
Of course, and that's you know, I like to base my music off of my emotion, and considering that was the first time I did it, that song's always gonna have something special to me. You know what I mean? I love that song.
On August 21st, you have an Instagram post that blows my mind, bro. 20,000 streams, Spotify, rising artist, silver record. You had music labels reaching out to work with you. How did you feel in that moment, bro?
Well, so last year it was kind of, I built a lot of momentum. You know, after February, my dad passed away in February. So I was kind of like, all right, so what do we do now? You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, I'm not going to let him run me into the ground. What would he want? So I switched my style and I started doing different types of styles, and they ended up working out. I dropped a song called It's Alright, and it was kind of more of an E&D or Juice WRLD type of song. And started collabing with other artists, even out of the country and stuff like that, right? So I just kind of went back to back again. It was kind of like I rejuvenated my career, you know what I mean? So over time, the songs are catching on the style. I'm liking it more and more. And then actually the silver record, that was from Against All Odds. So still that song coming into play again.
Yeah,
but we have that, and then we have more and more people reaching out, and then the numbers on Spotify. Like I think the one night, this had to be like June, or maybe May, I forget. But I released this song called Lovesick, and it did 1,500 plays in 15 minutes. That's what it was, and I was like, okay, we got something here. You know what I mean? So we gotta build it, keep going, keep going. It was real overwhelming, but I can't say it was for the in a bad way. You know what I mean? It was real good to see that, you know, the work finally paying off and stuff like that.
I'm flabbergasted.
I was too.
Like,
I was looking at all that shit, like, I think at one point in time, Funk Flex reached out to me. And he wanted me to work with that. Polo G. It was Polo G. This was last summer. And I never got the opportunity to do that, but still, the fact that it happened, you know what I mean, that he reached out to me, that was pretty fucking cool.
There's a lot of artists we interviewed. I don't know a lot of them that get those types of numbers on Spotify. I've seen some artists get talked from Flex, but the Spotify numbers, that's why it blew my mind.
Yeah,
bro. Like, that's just crazy,
that was
bro.
amazing. And you know what the best part about that is? Apple Music's my #1 platform. That's
that's
like,
for
Spotify to be like that and still have Apple Music as my #1, that means something. You know what I mean? You know, the work is working. That's all I gotta say, you know?
so, bro, who are some of your biggest music influences?
There's a lot, so get ready. Alright, so I actually just had a conversation about this a little while ago. Never limit yourself to one genre. Take as many genres as you can, pull as many artists and influences.
My favorite artist is John Lennon, bro.
John Lennon, amazing choice right there. You know what I mean? So I'll listen to classic rock. I'll listen to 2000s hip hop, 90s hip hop, 80s hip hop, everything. You know, you just mix it all together. So
it's like study.
Exactly, pretty much, because you can pull a lot of information from these people. You know what I mean? And their styles of music. I think my whole entire life, probably my biggest influence was Tupac. Right? And then we got 50 Cent in a business aspect for me, because you know how he started Get Rich or Die Trying, one of the greatest albums ever released. You know, and now he's a businessman. So I pulled that. Currently, recently, I'd probably say X, Juice WRLD, E and Dior. Those three styles, I love them. But never forget about, you got bands like Guns N' Roses, Pearl Jam, etc., etc. You got so many people.
What about Kid Cudi?
Kid Cudi, amazing.
Whole caption is like one of his verses.
Yeah, I love Kid Cudi. So amazing. His mind is just, he expands so much that some people might step back and be like, wow, like they might not be able to comprehend Kid Cudi, but I could understand Kid Cudi. You know what I mean? So that's another big one. There's so many. Jay-Z, the list goes on and on.
Is there any artists you could compare your music to in any type of way?
So many people have told me E and Dior, right? But with like a mix of Juice WRLD, two of my influences, you know what I mean? So if I ever get the chance to work with, well, obviously not Juice WRLD, R.I.P., but E and Dior, definitely. I could see that happening, you know what I mean? And just, it's on the same wavelength, I envision that. So yeah, that's it.
So what was it like growing up in Dunmore with the music scene?
The music scene. So I've seen a lot of artists come and go, but I've seen a lot of artists stay. Now, the thing is, not even just Dunmore. You reach out Scranton, North Pocono, Dixon City, all these different areas. You got such a variety of artists who put out good work. It's just they don't get the exposure that they need or don't necessarily know how to get the exposure they need. You know, so one of my goals in starting music was to help people. You know, if there's anything, it doesn't matter about the money, anything like that. It's mainly to help not only myself, but bring up everybody else. I always say a rising tide raises all boats. You know what I mean? So if one of us make it, we all made it. You know, and that's the goal. So, you know, I want to see them grow and prosper just as much as me. You know, there's a lot of talent out there. You just got to look for it. You know what I mean? Once you find it, it's kind of like a diamond in the rough. You find it, and it's worth it. I'm serious, you know. So shout out to all the other artists. You know, they're doing their thing, and they're making it happen.
That's a fact, bro.
From what we've heard, you tend to build yourself around helping other people. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, so like I said in the previous question, the main goal for this was to help others, whether that be through the lyrics, through the stories, through the beats, through anything, you know, even if it's just me giving people advice. It's kind of how my whole life is based, you know what I mean? It's never, people have said I've lived my life for other people. I guess that's a good point. You know, some people have said that's not the way to do it, but if there's anything I'd love to do more is build others up and help them, you know, the positivity thing, which you guys are based off of. It furthers my life and furthers theirs, you know, in many different aspects. And I've had so many people, like, the one day I was just sitting there and I got a text. Somebody I don't even know. They were like, I just want you to know I'm listening to your music and you're kind of showing me that you can do something that's not normal, you know what I mean, if that's the way they put it. But just even like getting those messages and stuff like that, you know, I'm fulfilling my goal, and that was the goal, you know what I mean. It's not about the materialistic, it's about helping, you know, and if I can do that for the rest of my career, then that's what I'm gonna do, you know, even if it's one person.
You said the normal, like, this is like a music, YouTube is an organized thing, like making things happen. So like to helping people, like, it's just like us, very similar. We want to use our YouTube just to help people. That's why we do it. So it's very similar, that same thing type in a way, bro.
Of course, and I respect that so much for you guys. You know, you guys got a good thing going, so keep it going. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to, you know, I always saw school, like, not to sleep on school or nothing, but it's kind of like a jail. You know what I mean? You got authority figures, you got classrooms. The classrooms are the cells. They tell you what you can and cannot do, right? Now, I'm the type of person that I've always said, there's not one motherfucker walking this planet that's going to tell me what I can and cannot do. I will respect you, but you're not going to boss me around. That's how everybody should view it. You know what I mean? Go do whatever the fuck you want. Like, fuck the next person. If you want it at heart, then do it. You know what I mean? Because that's like, you don't got to go to school and be a doctor. You don't got to be a lawyer. Don't do that normal shit if you don't want to. If you want to, feel free. I respect you, of course. But if you want to be an artist, if you want to paint, if you want to fucking, hey, if you want to be a fucking stripper, go be a stripper.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Not preaching none of that at school.
Nah, fuck that. You know what I mean? Reading that textbook, you learn the same shit every single fucking year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's a trap. Everything's a trap. You got to be
built
outside
for some
of the
people,
circle.
but some people don't appeal to that type of life. You know, bro?
Exactly.
They don't want to work that 9 to 5 every day.
That's what I mean.
So personally, how do you feel about the competition?
What competition?
Every competition.
Every competition. Okay. The only competition is myself. That's how I view it. I'm not here to compete against him, her, them. I'm just not. You know what I mean? I go in the studio and my mindset is, you can do better than this. So if I come out, and I was actually just touching upon this with my team earlier, I go in there and I come out hating the song. And I think the reason I hate the song every time I record it is because in my head, it's a constant battle. Like, you could do better than this. You know what I mean? Because you want to level up. You want to progress. You want to grow. So that's really the only competition I'm focused on. You know, you got to compete with yourself to be the best version of yourself. That's what I always tell myself. You know what I mean? I think that's the best way to do it.
That's a good way to think of it, for real.
That's positivity right there.
Yeah, I see a lot of artists that make a song and don't like their music all the time, but it'll turn out great. Like, I'll be with the artist, I'll play the song, and they'll be like, bro, this shit ass. I'm like, what are you talking about? Bump into this, bro. Like, it'll be crazy.
That's true, and that's kind of how I am. Like, my one song, Would You, tying back to when we talked about that earlier, that is my top song, like, of all time, right? I hated it. Like, I came out, and I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, I was sitting in my car playing, and I'm like, damn, right? So I showed a couple people, and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, are you fucking insane? And I'm like, I might be. But it's just that I got to compete with myself. Like, I could have done this better. Now I love the song. Like, it's one of my favorite songs that I've done. But, you know, it's just that competition or competitive mindset. You know, it's always going, no matter what it is. You know, when I used to play sports, with music, with business, it's always you just want to better yourself because the only person that can really better you is yourself at the end of the day. Because who do you have at the end of the day? You. You know what I mean? Just don't lose that. Always compete with yourself, you know?
Alright, so what song have you made has the most meaning to you, bro?
To answer that one, there's two. So if we go back and think about Against All Odds and the storytelling, we talked about that and everything. That was kind of my first ever song that was like me airing out how I felt. You know what I mean? So that'll always have a special place in my heart because just how good it's done and how much it did for me. You know what I mean? It was kind of like manifestation in a way. You know what I mean?
Confidence boost in a big way.
Exactly. A lot of shit has played out since then that, like, if you look at that song and look at me now, it's like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like against all odds and then you beat the odds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Type shit. But Would You is probably the second one because, you know, it's just, that was a heartbreak song. And it was real hard for me to record that because, you know, I was just transitioning into the more melodic flow of music or hip hop and rap. And I don't know, I was like damn near in tears when I recorded that song. You know what I mean? So like I hated it at first, but I love it now. I love it so much.
Having the confidence to do that song in the studio and put it out and get great feedback, it's like the best feeling.
Yeah, no doubt, of course. And at first, you know, it's hard to wear your heart when you sleep like that, you know, because you think about what people are gonna think of you, but you shouldn't do that. And I've grown past that point, you know what I mean? Like, the only opinion that should matter is yours at the end of every single day, you know what I mean? No matter what you do in life, that's how it always should be. Don't worry about the next person. And, you know, it's cool to get that feedback, though, because it helps people, you know what I mean? Because it's real, because I'm not the only person going through it, you know what I mean?
They compare to your situation, bro.
Exactly. And if it helps you, even if it's not in a heartbreak or just like something you're going through in general, like everybody goes through their own shit, but some people go through similar things, you know what I mean? And that's the goal, you know, just use the words to show maybe the next person, hey, you're not alone, you know what I mean? Yeah, I feel this way too, so it's okay to not be okay. You know what I mean?
So what's your grand vision? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Honestly, in 5 years, I just want to look back and say you did it. You know what I mean? Because I have a taste of that now, but 5 years is a lot of time to work with. You know, I just want a solid future, which is what I've been building, you know, keeping the successes up. I want to be at a table with everybody I care about or who came up with me, and I just want to sit down and be able to talk about, like, damn, look at us now. You know what I mean? That's my goal. That's
when that feeling comes, bro, it's just gonna be the best feeling in the world, bro.
Exactly. Like, you know, envisioning it now, it's like, damn, when that happens. It's not an if, it's a when.
Yeah, speaking
when
to existence.
Exactly. We're just gonna look back and be like, wow, you know, we're gonna keep growing from there. That's not the end, you know what I mean? It's only the beginning. And, you know, that's where I see myself. And I know it's gonna happen. You know, hard work and dedication, it pays off. You put in enough work in the time span that you need to pace yourself and get there, you will.
That's a fact.
That's what I see, like, in 4 or 5 years, bro, like, where we at in YouTube, I hope we're at a place, like, where I know I don't gotta go to do something else. Like, I'm sustained and we can just keep growing from where we at.
And you keep going at this pace, you will. You know what I mean? You gotta believe in yourself. That's one thing I tell everybody, always believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who's gonna believe in you? You know what I mean? Everything's possible. You just gotta be able to go out there and do it. And everybody can do it, but will you? And I know y'all will, and I know I will.
That's a fucking fact.
That's a fucking fact.
Yeah. Alright, bro, so I ask every artist this question. Are you Scooby or Booby? Scooby means positivity, Booby means bad things, but that means good sometimes. You feel me, bro?
I suppose.
Yeah, so
basing it off of myself, I'm gonna have to go Scooby.
Yeah, positivity. This interview's been whole positive, so I feel that 100%.
I support it,
Of course. No doubt.
Alright, so next, bro, you see this wall right here. It was plain like 2 months ago, bro, and then we started doing the interviews, and all the artists that have been in this room have signed it, some other people, so we're gonna have you sign this wall for us, bro.
No doubt, let's do it. Let's do it.
So what's up with people with the cursive? That's guys, bro, the little X. That's perfect, bro. Thank you, brother. Thank you for coming. It was beautiful.
Of course. Appreciate y'all having me. I'll be back soon if y'all want me on again. Slow it down. All that. I appreciate it very much.
Guys, this is the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching so much. Big shout out to the Keystone State. Big shout out to Three Fellas Profits. And make sure you go check out our man Methadoix on all his platforms, guys.
Yeah, go out.
Nobody around her. You came straight from hell. Can you go back or no?